I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm glad bro picked that song, made that song. That's his song, by the way. Even though it was through AI, but it was his idea. I'm officially
right.
sold. I'm officially sold on it, man. It gets me hype up every
Yeah.
time I
Gotta
find
get
my
hype,
inner
doesn't
white.
it?
I find my inner white when I hear it. You know,
It's not
You're white.
unusual to be loved by you.
I always find my inner white, and
What is
it
going on
makes
right
me
now?
feel very much like I have a high credit score.
I think in that department I still out black y'all too.
You probably did. Hey, look,
Yeah.
mine's pretty down there now. I might.
Yeah, but I'm white trash white, so like I'm
yeah.
about as close as it can get to it.
To black, yeah.
Yeah.
I would never call myself trash.
Wigger. Wigger stuff. You see, we got a wigger, we got two N words, and we got a
gook.
wigger.
A gook.
A wigger. A wigger, wigger, and niggers. Look at that. All the girls in the world. You can't go wrong.
No, Marlon and I are proper Negroes.
We're tigers.
We're
That's
proper.
what that's what we are. We're tigers.
We're proper.
We're proper Negroes.
Yes, okay.
Uppity.
Up it.
We're Nigers. We got to say it like that in Niger.
Yeah. It's French.
Yeah, it's
We're
French. It sounds
Niger.
more better, right? It's
We're
Nigers. We're
Nigers.
Nigers up in here.
Mhm. Oh, look! If you can't laugh at yourself, I mean, come on. If y'all don't find
man.
that funny, then you probably need to go find your sense of humor. It's out there. It's looking
Yeah.
for you. Go find it.
Yeah, that's the
So-
new one. It's
Mr. Trump has picked a portion of his cabinet, y'all. And wowie, we are in for some interesting times.
Mhm.
I want to knock this one out first because this isn't part of his pick, and that's the John Thune pick by the hidden Senate majority. What do y'all think of that pick? What's your take on Thune?
it's the worst.
Establishment guy, and like we were saying backstage, anybody that Mitch McConnell gets behind, it's a no-go.
Is a
for me.
no-go.
That's not who the people wanted.
That's gonna
And
say,
for
yeah.
them to do a secret vote, that's telling. Because
There's a reason.
Yeah, they don't want the people to know which rhino put this guy in there because they know when it comes to election time, 2 years from now, they're not going to get back in.
Well, it's not just them. It's also the Democrats voting for him as well because they need somebody that's going to be on their side. So the secret vote protects both Democrats and Republicans. It's not just the Republicans that need protection. It's the Democrats in anonymity. That's why.
And the swamp is deep.
Anonymity.
The swamp is deep.
Yeah. So I didn't like Rick Scott either, but at least he was on Trump's side. But none of the picks for Senate was going to be up to us anyway. It's all of the swamp people picking swamp people, right? It's like a slime, right? It just cut a piece of itself off and says, now you're the leader.
So it's Venom?
Yeah.
And it's not up to us, but as the people that put them in office, they should at least listen a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
it is
my
kinda up to us.
constituents want this.
It is kind of up to us. Now,
it
if we
is.
knew who they were, we can get rid of them.
Yep.
I mean, which is why people are calling for if once this list of those who voted for Thune gets out, it's art. And for those who live in a state where they voted, the senators voted for this guy, the call is to get those people out midterm.
Yeah.
I think the political landscape has changed completely. And I think a lot of the establishment people are running scared, but it also means that they're going to be the worst in the next 4 years.
Yeah,
I think I think the swamp is getting drained, personally.
Well, let's say, now I'm gonna have the audience do your own assessment of what you're gonna see. Okay, this is him speaking, Thune. I mean, and I'll say this for the record: the same way I see Thune is how I saw Johnson when we had issues with Johnson.
McCarthy too.
No, when the most recent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I view him as kind of like that, where there's something ain't right. There's something really something is there that I don't like. So
our next guest is here to weigh in on the state of the race for the White House
He
and the
sounds
Senate.
drunk.
Taxes, if there was another Trump, or if there's a Harris administration, and more. Joining us is GOP Senator John Thune of South Dakota, the minority whip. Senator, it's good to see you.
Good morning, Joe.
We have people.
See that? This face tells me a lot. Something ain't right with him. Like
Yep.
Shady, off. I know how to. I don't know how to put my. I can't put my finger on it, but something about
I
it.
got it.
Almost Palpatine-ish.
Yeah, that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He's a lizard, like Alex Jones would say.
Yeah,
he's a
lizard.
lizard
Man.
He's a lizard.
So the other thing I would say is that the thing that gives me pause is the fact that he was the minority whip before. So it's just another one. It's my turn situation.
Yeah,
he's in the higher echelons of the Senate because the whips are just below the speaker. They're the guys that are second. And so if they're just following the ladder of who's next, they just basically let John Thune be the next guy because it was his turn.
Now, I'm glad we're hearing him before the election, so we get to an honest sound of what he thinks of Trump, right? Let's find out what he says.
On quite a bit that are counting on gridlock. So I think that means that there is an assumption that the GOP is at least going to control the Senate. The House is up in the air, or possibly even leaning Democrat. Is that how you see it right now?
Well, a lot of it depends on the top of the ticket. The House in particular correlates pretty closely to what how the presidential race performs. But we feel really good about where we are in the Senate, and I think the Senate is the quintessential check and balance in our democracy. And
there it is.
Democracy.
There it is. That's
why.
Oh, he said the words.
That's it.
There was a. Did you see the video where they said replace democracy with our bureaucracy?
I wish they just stopped using that word and just call it what we are.
A republic.
Just say republic.
Yeah.
The republic. It's not that hard, but they keep throwing out this commie word democracy, and it's driving me crazy.
Maybe he'll clarify.
We should say it more often.
Let's see.
That's an insurance policy for people who are looking at what might happen in the House or in the presidential race. If we win them all, obviously, we're in a position to do some things from a governing standpoint that we need to get done.
If the Democrats win them all, they're in a position to
They are indeed, and
they're on the record for the filibuster's gone.
And that's a big concern. That not only changes the essence of the Senate, but it changes the country. And the Democrats have made it very plain that they will get rid of the filibuster. And then the list of horribles of things they would do if they did that should be of concern to people all across the country.
Even Joe Manchin, I think, pulled his or did not endorse Vice President Harris because of those
that issue. Yeah.
So
Now, again, what I did not hear him say, which I find also kind of interesting, he's just mentions the presidential candidates. He didn't say former President Trump, hope to be President Trump. He has stayed away from mentioning him as the head. He went to talk about the Senate, he talked about the House and the we thing, and that's concerning. I'm not saying he has to be a shill for Trump, but Trump's the only one running right now for president, and you didn't mention him once in your dialogue to this person and this individual. So it tells me that somewhere along the lines you may not have been one to pick Trump for the presidency. And if that's the case, can I depend on you to do what needs being done when the time comes? Because I can easily see him doing just like what the rest of them do, which is stab in the back.
I wonder if he's on record anywhere as an anti-Trumper. You know what I mean? Like, is there anywhere in his record where he was against anything Trump was trying to push, trying to pass? Because that'll tell you right there.
Let's find out. I'm gonna bet you money that he did not. Yeah.
Oh, they're his.
In Thune, Senate Republicans picked the most anti-MAGA leader in the mix.
There you go.
Jeez.
All right. So here it is right here.
He is part of the swamp.
Now remember, this is from Time magazine, so it's not a right-leaning post. Okay. This is what they had to say. Okay. This is Time magazine. To outside, it looks a whole lot like Donald Trump has unrivaled control over the current Republican Party. He rode a remarkable and historic wave back to the re-election last week, one of which his allies expanded their majority in the House and the Senate will return in January, with Republicans holding the gavels to lay eye. Trump has GOP lackeys are going to have to rein over or reign of Washington for at least the next 2 years. Democrats, it's just best to cower and concede ground, right? At least that's what they're saying. Now, but a closer look at the Republican monopoly, a little less certain. The House is destined to be a mess, given a narrow margin of majority of the parochial whims of some of the most right-wing members. Republicans, on most measures, are expected to need a handful of Democrat votes to get must-pass legislation to finish line, blah, blah, blah. To check, let's see here. Let me see if I can find where he's talking about. In picking Thune, Republicans rejected the MAGA-backed Scott for a by-the-book establishment figure who is as unassuming as he is efficient.
There it is.
Yeah, unassuming and inefficient.
One of the most powerful people in Washington that folks outside the Beltway have never heard of. That's a problem. He has a national fundraising network of 33 million raised for Republicans this cycle alone, and his alumni are peppered throughout the conservative ecosystem of Hill offices, committee staff, K Street lobbying shops. To put it plainly, Thune positioned himself shrewdly to become McConnell's logical heir.
Yeah, he is a swamp creature, plain and simple. That's what it is. When you hear K Street lobbies, he knows everybody. He raised a ton of money for the Republicans. That should give you pause, because there's another person who raised a lot of money that was Speaker of the House that got ousted in the same position. So
yeah, I think what we expect to have a smooth transition in terms of getting things done, that may have just been kiboshed by this secret coup of establishment Republicans. Which is problematic. And at this point, it doesn't matter who the rest of his picks are, because you have to get things through the Senate in order to get your way. They might be looking to hamstring him and make him a lame duck.
That's more than likely what's going to happen.
I could see that.
Because the way that you look at it right now is that the establishment is putting their resistance up, right? So they're already talking about all across the country in Democrat-controlled cities not following the deportation plan, that none of the sheriffs, none of the DAs, nobody's going to, in Democratic areas, are going to help him do any deportations. That's what they're already saying. And then in the House, you've got establishment figures that aren't going to help him pass legislation there. And as we know now, the new Senate leader is not going to help him pass legislation that they don't want.
Right.
I mean,
it's problematic.
It's the thing is that we all know that the rhinos are in it for the money, and a lot of the things that Trump wants to do affects their pocketbooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Very much so.
This is an issue for me,
and taxes being one of them.
Here's a problem I can see, not for Trump, but for this guy. Trump has the ear of many in the House and quite a few in the Senate, right?
Yeah.
If just like, and I'm banking on people like Green and a few others to step up and say, "Oi, you're gonna do what we want," or just like we did with McCarthy, you out. I just hope they do it sooner than later.
Yeah.
They should expect the fact that this man is establishment, that you would instantly check to see what I would push. This is how I would get him out. Push one of the most outrageous bills through and see what he does with it. And I mean the most extreme MAGA one you could think of, and see how he responds to it. And if he doesn't go with it, you know what exactly he's going to do, because if he does it on that, the one that we want the most, he definitely is going to do it to the ones we don't want.
Or the other one is give him something that's going to be very establishment favored and see how fast he pushes it through.
Yeah. The problem with that, though, is that it will go through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we may not be able to risk anything stupid going through. But as far as I see, this might be a massive roadblock. I don't know how we're going to get past it. But if he becomes an issue, I hope that there's enough guts in the Senate to say we're changing our mind, we're getting rid of him, we're putting somebody else in. I would hope.
My theory going forward is more than likely what will happen is that things will get made in the House by people that are MAGA congressmen and women, right? It'll get passed there, and it'll always be roadblock in the Senate, and they'll never pass a thing for the next 2 years. It'll always die in the Senate every single time.
I mean, just look at HR 2. It's still sitting on Schumer's desk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Those swamp creatures stick together. It doesn't matter if you're a
do.
Republican or Democrat. When it comes to the swamp creatures, the rhinos and these commie Democrats are all in it together. Right. And like someone stated earlier, it's all about money.
Yeah, the best thing I think we can hope for Trump presidency is the thing that he does have absolute authority and control over, and that's the executive branch, right? Yeah. Everything, all the 3-letter agencies are under his purview. Everything other than getting them funded is under his purview. He could gut, he could tear down, he could dismantle every single thing in the executive branch he wants, and there's nothing Congress could do to stop him unless they pass a bill to make it where he can't do anything about it. But that's part of his purview as the president. He can do that. So this is the best thing we can hope for. Is we're probably not going to get anything real meaningful change passed through Congress or the Senate. But the best we can hope for is that he guts the system of the bureaucracy to its core as much as possible. That's the best thing we can hope for right now.
The biggest issue is the wall right now.
Yeah,
and I think that's where he's going to get hamstrung.
They already have funding. Yeah, they already passed the funding a long time ago. He can build what he has.
They can delay. They can delay the disbursement of said funds.
True.
And that's where the problem comes in. Now, if you have people who are antagonistic to the plan,
and another thing is funding to Ukraine.
Yeah,
Trump already said he's not going to give him any more money.
But he
we'll
can't.
See, say that again.
He can't do that.
He doesn't control the purse. He doesn't control the money.
Yeah.
But you're going to see where they stand, because if the president of the United States has said, hey, we're not funding this anymore, and these guys turn around and say, well, yes, we are, you're going to know where they stand.
Yeah.
The thing he can do is he doesn't have to grant government contracts to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though it's allocated to Ukraine, it's like, well, you can either give it to Ukraine directly, cash money, which that's not what they want to do. They want to pay it to the lobbyists and the defense contractors. They want to give that money to them. But if they're not allowed to get the contracts for it, then that's nothing they can do about it. It's like, well, we can't do anything because there's no contract.
Stalemate.
Good.
That's what you'll end up with, is a stalemate. The other pick that I had, I'm going to bring up the ones questionable first. And y'all can tell me if he's a questionable pick, is Lee Zeldin.
Lee Zeldin, yeah.
He strikes me a little bit weird. And I'm going to have you guys listen to his debate with Kathy Hochul. And if you sound weird next to Kathy Hochul, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. Okay, here's the debate. We're going to start it over here real quick and turn up the volume.
There is no crime-fighting plan if it doesn't include guns, illegal guns. And you refuse to talk about how we can do so much more. You didn't even show up for votes in Washington when a bipartisan group of enlightened legislators voted for an assault weapon ban.
Kathy Hochul believes that the only crimes that are being committed are these crimes with guns. And you have people who are afraid of being pushed in front of oncoming subway cars. They're being stabbed, beaten to death on the street with hammers. Go talk to the Asian American community and how it's impact them with the loss of lives. Jewish people targeted with raw, violent anti-Semitism.
And you see, he doesn't know how to stay on topic.
Yeah.
Well, this is my problem. And it might be nitpicky. But they're picking him for a position. One, I don't know if he has experience enough to do it. Two, are you going to be doing something of the kinds that may possibly have, because you'll have to fight people on this one, because it's EPA, right? Environmental stuff.
Yeah.
I have yet to see what his voting record is on the Green New Deal type things. And he's kind of stayed away from saying anything about it in public.
Yeah.
Again, look, it's just kind of weird that these are the people that are getting put over certain arena. Now, mind you, these are the only two I really have major issues with, is the pick for the Senate and this guy.
Not me.
But, there might be more.
I got a couple that I've got issues with. But, I think the reason he chose Zeldin is that it's an unassuming position anyway. It's the EPA. Who really cares about the EPA, right? Two, he's a veteran, former Army officer, right? He likes going with veterans and Army officers or military officers of some sort because he believes that they have a better insight to things than he will, or that they're more loyal. I don't know. That's just Trump's thinking. I'm not familiar with his thinking, unlike reporters. Apparently, they're familiar with his thinking. But this is my guess, is that he thinks he's going to be a loyal soldier in this fight against the bureaucracy. That's what I'm thinking.
So, but my issue is, and to Marlon's point, he didn't really answer the question. He did pivot. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with his pivot, but the fact that he pivoted is a little bit of concern to me.
Yeah, people in the military don't pivot.
How will he answer questions regarding? Well, that's true. But how will he answer questions with regards to carbon dioxide emissions levels in the United States? It's like, well, what about windmills and fracking? It's like, what, dude?
And the thing is, the EPA is very important because they're trying to push this Green New Deal. You know, you have all these farmers who have all these environmental freaking rules and regulations out there that hinders them from doing what they're actually supposed to do. So the EPA is very, very important because if they try to pass this Green New Deal and he agrees with it, that's going to hurt a lot of people in this country.
But that's the thing you're missing is that all he needs to do is do what they're telling him to do. That's the whole point of this is they need somebody that is just going to say yes to the plan. Because the EPA, as important as it is right now, if they do what they say they're going to do, the EPA is going to be basically a shell of its former self, and it's not going to have any power. Well, if they end up doing what they're supposed to.
Thing is, the thing that I'm finding to be a little bit of a crossroads stalemate here, though, is that they can do all that they want to, but with Chevron deference in play now, it doesn't seem to really matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I don't see the point in the EPA, to be honest.
It's a garbage position, I think.
Yeah, get rid of it. It's a waste of money.
Yeah, which they might
Elon
under Doge they might get rid of the EPA in general.
Let's go, Elon. Let's go.
But we'll see.
I'm trying to see if he had anything to vote on, and so I found what I need to find. I wanted to hear what he talked about when it comes to the climate change. That will tell me. So Lee has expressed mixed views on climate change and environmental policy throughout his career. While he supported some renewable energy incentives like extending solar tax investment credits and researching offshore wind potential, he overall environmental record has shown that he is critical of it. While in Congress, he did not serve on committees overseeing environmental policies and had a lifetime score of 14% from the League of Conservation Voters on environmental policies during his 8 years in Congress. So he stayed away from trying to deal with this, but he's put over the top of it. He co-sponsored a Carbon Capture Improvement Act to encourage carbon capture technology, but has also faced opposition for votes seen as favoring fossil fuel industries and opposing strict okay, well, in that case, that would be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he stands true to it, awesome. I'm still leery, because a lot of these people still have to prove themselves, and that is my biggest issue. Which one of these you had questions about, Coy? This is one of mine too. This other guy here.
No, Rubio. Rubio is my absolute hated pick by Trump,
right.
And I'm not going to mix words with that. He's a neocon. He's a warmonger neocon that shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he picked Marco Rubio over Tulsi Gabbard and gave her the DNI. I don't get that.
I don't either.
It is interesting indeed. I've never been a fan of Rubio, especially when we saw him on stage with Trump in 2016. Y'all remember that one?
Oh yeah.
He seems to be almost akin to a Pompeo in my mind. Now, could he have changed his tune? Because I haven't I'll be honest, I have not heard much from him or about him in the last year and a half. He's been out of limelight. So I don't know if he's changed his tune, kind of like a few of these people, these GOP guys who have now changed, like Vance. Vance didn't like Trump to begin with, and now he's kind of on board. Could it be that Rubio has changed his tune like that too?
No, I don't know. The thing with Trump, or you got to understand, Trump has to play politics, regardless if Trump is kind of anti-establishment. He still has to play nice with the GOP if he wants to get stuff done. Mm-hmm. So I believe a pick like Rubio was probably something the establishment gave him. He probably didn't want Rubio, but in order to get his agenda pushed forward, there are certain people probably he had to pick.
Yeah,
and
but
Rubio's one of them. Now, Trump is known for letting people make a fool of themselves in his, administration also. So Rubio can be that guy. Put Rubio in there and let him fail so the American people can really see who he is. I don't know.
But that just means that Trump hasn't learned his lesson from the last time.
That's my point there.
Yeah, that's my point too. Yeah, it's like you've got me hoping for a lot of things, but if you're doing stupid things like picking Marco Rubio, that's got me a little bit of a pause, dude. Like we got faith in you. I voted for you this time. I didn't vote you for you the last 2 times. Don't disappoint me by picking a Marco Rubio.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Okay, to run bros things down the line real quick. Let's run that theory down the line real quick. If he is picking Rubio out of an establishment mindset to show that the establishment does not know what they're talking about, I could get that if the position that you put him in wasn't of consequence. This one is of consequence. Secretary of State is of massive consequence. Now, if you're telling me then that you're only giving him 2 or 3 months to see how he does, why put him in to begin with?
Yeah.
But if you leave him in for longer than that, he could do some serious damage, and what he does could be irreversible. So you have he's a gambler, I get it, but this is a big risk.
Yeah.
It just makes me mad.
Yeah, no, it does to me too. But I gotta wonder how much could he botch compared to Hillary Clinton?
A lot, because he's on the Republican side. Now here's the problem:
the establishment.
Yeah, and so while everybody knew Hillary. Okay, Hillary was a piece of trash to begin with, right? But he's come across as a clean-cut guy, and he's playing both sides of the fence. And at any point, he could Humpty Dumpty on the left or the right.
Right. Yeah.
But with that state, like to your point, Coy. Not putting Tulsi over it seems a bit of a, but again, at the same time, I can't say that it's really horrible to put her where he put her.
Yeah.
But I would, in any death, I would have put somebody else where Rubio is. Let's just put it like that.
They did put her on a watch list for flying, and now she's in charge of one of the agencies that put her on that list. Which is ironically hilarious to me, which is great. But I would have preferred seeing her in a more prominent position, especially come 2028.
Yeah.
Why I'm like, you're wasting her talent at the DNI when you could have put her front and center on the state, right? And she would have gotten much more political sway in the near future when she needs to run again, which she will run again. I know it's going to happen. She's still young. She's not Hillary Clinton. She's likable. So there's no reason why you wouldn't run her in the future.
Yeah.
Right. I had heard, I'm going to check right now, that she was on the WEF Young Global Leader Forum. Was she one of those people?
She was one of those people that the future leaders thing, which they put a bunch of random people on there that might not have any connection. And she's been completely like, I had nothing to do with that. These people are crazy situation. So
this is what she said. At WEF, this was back in 2015. I'm honored to be selected as 2015 Young Voices, Global Leaders Voices, representing Hawaii amongst leaders from around the world.
But again, the timeline though, it kind of seems fitting for her to be so ingrained. But then all of a sudden now, 8-9 years later, she flips. Understanding that that's their crowd. She
was indoctrinated into the Democrats for a very long time, and then she broke free of it.
I'm again, we're giving people for now, and it's not because I trust the people. I am hoping, to Lee's point, that he hopefully learned his lesson about who he picked. Now, again, he has picked quite a few, and so far we've only had problems with 2. One, he didn't have any power over picking, and this one, who he did have power over picking. I still don't agree with this particular pick.
And then Kristi Noem. We have to talk about Kristi Noem.
Little Marco.
For DHS, I don't understand why Kristi Noem is going to be in DHS. She doesn't have any experience. Like, this is the chick that probably almost lost her seat to begin with because she shot her dog. I think that's the chick, unless it was somebody else I'm misremembering. That was her. She probably shouldn't have a political career after that book. But you make her DHS. I would rather have seen Tulsi in DHS than Kristi Noem. I don't understand why you put Kristi Noem there.
Now, could it be that he had no other persons to put there? What could he pick for? Who what was his pool to pick from? That's the real question.
Ooh.
What was his pool to pick from?
Yeah, we won't know that. Like behind the scenes, man, these picks, I don't think Trump is sitting there like with a list, like I want this person for this person for this. I think there are people actually picking them, speaking for them. Yeah, this person is a good pick for X, Y, and Z. And Trump just goes, okay. I don't think he's like, he might handpick his, Secretary of Defense. He might have handpicked his vice president, maybe. But I don't think he's actually sitting down with a list of people, going down a list saying, okay, Marco, Christie. I think they're picked for him. And either he says yay or nay. And, then they give their case on why this person is a good pick. I don't think Trump has time to vet every single person that's on that list.
Okay. So here's my question. Do you think that he's living in and I don't think he's afraid. But I think if it were up to Trump, he'd pick absolutely no political people.
Yeah, I believe that.
I think he would pick absolutely no political. Now, say, for instance, that he went out and got people who we know speak all the stuff that is truthful, what we consider conspiracy theorists. If he were to put people like, and again, people may say that's too far-fetched, you're being stupid, but people like Alex Jones to bring into his cabinet, and people who are just like him, who have no political leaning in terms of they have been shills for so long. As much as he might think he'd get judged by that, I think he should have stuck with that mantra and brought people in that had zero, and I mean zero influence in politics, so that they could not be bought and they didn't have any ties to the establishment. However, I do understand that that's kind of the harder thing to do, because you're still going to get the backlash of, are they capable? And if they do fail, you fail twice now. You fail on the pick that you didn't pick somebody that knows politics and they didn't get the job done. So I get that he's kind of hedging his bets with some of these people, but to your point, Coy, I don't see why she was one of the picks for that particular position.
I don't even like, everybody's starting to dog freaking Pete from Fox News and his credentials, right? Which we can talk about next. But hers, I don't understand her credentials to be able to be head of the DHS. I don't see it. Like, now, at least Kash Patel would make more sense.
But she may not be confirmed. That's what we can hope for. Is that he submits and she won't be confirmed. And if she is not confirmed, then we get to see a secondary pick. And I believe he may have a second. But now, here's to this point, is he nominating the people that he knows for a fact people will be like, well, why would you pick, just to get them denied to bring his actual pick in? I'm not saying he's a genius like that, but I think he might be playing both sides against the middle to see, well, y'all wanted that one, you got him, and you didn't want him in there, so now I'm going to pick my actual pick, and this is who I really want.
So when it comes to confirming them, say the first one doesn't get confirmed and he brings another one, can they not confirm that one also, or it's only one time? Okay. So they can just keep not confirming people every time somebody goes forward. They can just keep letting it go on and on and on. Or is there a limit?
But most of the time, confirmations have always been just like a dog and pony show, right? They just do it to do it. They usually get passed through. Everybody votes for it. It goes cross party line and nobody cares, right? And they get passed through. It doesn't actually do anything in most of the times, but this time it might. I don't know, especially with the Senate the way it is.
This time it's Trump's second and last term.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's Trump. If they are really concerned about him pushing stuff through, they will probably have a problem with the people he picked, or you will see them picking and deciding them right away because they work for the establishment. I think Rubio might be the only one that will go through right away because he's an establishment guy. Christie may not go through right away.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, like everybody's going to have their least liked and most liked picks of this list. These just happen to be our people that we dislike. I don't like Christie Noem. I don't like Rubio. There's a couple of people on the list I don't like, but it is what it is.
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
The other, let's go to Mr. Defense himself.
Yeah. Pete Hegseth. Now, people are coming at him saying that he's the least qualified to run the Department of Defense.
Which the reasoning though is because they're harping on his Fox News host position as being unqualified, but they forget that
ignoring his 20 years of service. Yeah.
2 gold stars, mind you.
Yeah. So you got Bronze Stars, like 2 of those, but like for officers, those get given out for various things. I would have to actually read his write-ups.
Their biggest thing is that he's not a general, or a former general, retired general. So that's their biggest argument. He wasn't a general, as if only a general has the ability to be Secretary of Defense. This guy has multiple. He has multiple deployments. He has a military career. He has all the stuff. The same thing the general has. He just wasn't the rank. So I like the guy personally. He's anti-war. He's anti-foreign wars. I like him.
It's a good pick for multiple reasons. I think the reason why people like he was on Fox News for 10 years. It's like watching your best friend get a really cool job, right? That's the guy. You've at least seen him a few times. You understand who he is. But the fact that they're saying that he doesn't have credentials is the thing that blows my mind. Is like he's an Army infantry officer, or at least National Guard Army infantry officer. He's had experience in combat. Like he's anti-war. That's the guy you want in there, not somebody from Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all the other lobbyist groups that they usually put in there.
And not some woke former general that I used to work for when I was a drill sergeant, Lloyd Austin. Woke. And we don't want no more of that. He's getting back to the basics. Remember Trump said we need to go back to, I forget what he said. He showed that Full Metal Jacket movie. He showed a clip from Full Metal Jacket. And he was pretty much saying this is a type of military we need to go back to.
Me a war face.
Yeah,
we're in the business of killing. We're not in the business of holding your hand, telling us what your favorite color is or what your gender is. We're not into this coddling stuff. The military is in the business of killing, period. No matter how much you want to look at it, the business of killing, that is your job.
Which is one of the reasons why that they're angry at him, is because he wrote the book on basically de-wokeifying the military. Good. That's what it is. There's a clip that's going around that people are upset about him is saying exactly that, is like what we should be doing with the military. I've got it pulled up if you want to.
Do you think we should have used him better over the VA?
Maybe.
Ooh. It's a question.
It's a question, but
for the VA, I just
he would understand PTSD and stuff on how to get
maybe because not every single veteran that gets out the military understands PTSD. Everybody says they got PTSD.
But he at least he's familiar with what could bring it on.
If I was to have somebody over to VA, I would have somebody like a retired sergeant or a retired senior non-commissioned officer. Someone who was more at the level of at the soldier level, and I think somebody like that's into politics, that was a former whatever, senior NCO would be a good pick for the VA. But officers, usually they're so disconnected at that point that, trying to understand what some of these younger guys have gone through when they've been disconnected for so long I just don't see.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. So here it is.
The Pentagon is in the book, the exact amount of years, but in the past X number of years, 10, 12, 15, the Pentagon has a perfect record in all of its war games against China. We lose every time inside the Pentagon war games. We know what our real capability. You see, we didn't even get to this part of the war on warriors. I mean, the military-industrial complex, the way we procure weapon systems, we're always, the way our system works, the way our bureaucratic system works, where the speed of weapons procurement works, we're always a decade behind in fighting the last war. Whereas China, we have, what did Rumsfeld say? You go to the war of the army you have. We have the army. China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. Take hypersonic missiles. So if our whole power projection platform is aircraft carriers and the ability to project power that way strategically around the globe. And yeah, we have a nuclear triad and all of that, but a big part of it. And if, 15 hypersonic missiles can take out our 10 aircraft carriers in the first 20 minutes of a conflict.
That's it.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
I mean,
so this is the guy they're saying is unqualified, by the way. This is the guy.
All right.
I see nothing. I heard nothing wrong with his entire statement. Like, what's there to go against?
Well, this is actually the wrong clip, but this is one of the ones I wanted to show too. But it was him talking about China. The other one is him talking about that we shouldn't have women in combat. That it doesn't increase lethality.
Combat
it
zone.
doesn't
Oh yeah.
it doesn't do anything for us. So them opening like infantry and other things to combat arms doesn't actually help the military, period. And that's the thing that they're upset about.
Very true.
I just would like you to clarify, if you don't mind, Lady D. What exactly do you mean by right now whites and black men are going to get exactly what they voted for? I'm not saying you mean something. I would just like a little more elaboration before I say, in case I might be jumping to conclusions. I don't want to jump to conclusions. So if you can please, if you don't mind, I would appreciate it that you clarify what you mean, what we voted for.
Yeah. What did we vote?
Because you did specify the, white and black men.
Mm-hmm.
The party
the
of
Asians,
child traffickers, and sex. But who are you saying that the Republicans are the party of child traffickers, or the Democrats?
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Look, I'm just wanting. I just want to know which one you're talking and referring to. So if you can, just clarify for us. I want to be able to react to your statements properly and not act out of what I believe you're saying. I would like to prefer to act based on what you're actually saying. So if you just clarify that for us before we get too far on, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. The funny thing about that is, like, all I have to point to is Diddy and how much money he raised for the Democratic Party, and that should be enough to shut down anything else said about
if
that.
it's the Republican she's talking about.
Epstein too.
That's all I'm saying.
Like, all the people that gave money.
I'm not saying you're saying who. I would like to know who you're referring to. That's all. Because like I said, inferring and thought. I don't want that. I saw the comment and I just needed clarification, because I have had occasions where people say something, but they said, "Oh no, what I meant was," and they clarified it. Then what they said made sense. So if you don't mind, just clarify that for me. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So he's one. So now we come to Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. This one is a good one. This one,
I'm
excited about that.
This one is what you call. All right, we got a dog now, and not just any dog. We're talking about the kind of dog that will see you from the yard, jump the fence, chase you down the street to your house, bust through your doggy door, and still bite you. That's this kind of dog, and that's the kind of dog we want. That's the kind of dog we want.
Yeah, I like how they have to put that in there, to the alleged sex trafficking thing, but it was actually blackmail against him. That whole thing was a hoax, and they're still running with it. Yeah.
My problem with this, though, he's an active congressman for Florida, and for him to be this, I don't know. It's like he's taking active people, and that's going to kind of sort of create a vacuum within these states and within these governorships. Because, like with Kristi Noem, she's the governor of South Dakota. Now, great, say what you want to say about her puppy killing, whatever, but there's something. She's actually effective as a governor of South Dakota, and for her to be considered confirmed, let's just say. That leaves her to pick, a possible establishment rhino in South Dakota goes in the tank. Same with Gaetz. And so I'm a little hesitant as to why Trump is picking active, unilaterally voted, officials and taking them away from their effective positions as congressmen, senators, and governors.
On the bright side, Gaetz is in Florida, and Florida's been very, very red lately. So I doubt a Democrat takes his seat, but it still leaves an open seat in Congress doing that.
And I'm pretty sure with all these picks, they've already got this planned out. So whoever they pick, like, let's say Vance, I was reading that Vivek is already slotted maybe to take over his seat, Vance's seat in Ohio. So I'm pretty sure like the Gaetz and, Tulsi's and all these people already have their pick. They already know.
Wait, I thought Vivek was chosen for Doge or
Doge. That too. But I was reading earlier that he may take Vance's seat.
Oh,
in Ohio.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Department of Government Efficiency is what it's officially called. Is not going to be a permanent thing. It's going to be done by the end of next July 4th is when he wants it completed, right? So it's not going to be a permanent thing. So he might still be able to do that. We'll have to see. But at the end of the go ahead.
But I think Matt, I'm a huge fan of Matt Gaetz, man, and I think that's like the perfect position for him.
He was interesting at one point. There were some points where he was I was stressed about him at one point, and he has since kind of redeemed himself in my eyes. Again, a lot of these people are establishment, whether we want to admit it or not, even though they talk a big game. The test will come when he's placed in a position where he can actually do something. And if he doesn't, it'll tell me more about him. So as to Lady D's point, I'm assuming you mean Tom Homan. I don't think you mean Holmes, because that's not anyone that I found. You said he said it from his mouth that he trafficked sex worker immigrant children and child labor. He said it like it was normal. He said that he trafficked children.
No, that's not. No,
I'm again.
Fake news.
Maybe typing might get your message construed, but based on what you said before, that we are getting what we voted for, and that you're thinking that Tom has trafficked children out of his own mouth, I would believe that would be all over the news right now, that Donald Trump picked a man who trafficked children out of his own mouth. I don't recall him saying that those two immigrants are going to wipe the United States. Which two immigrants are you talking about?
What are you talking? Vivek
is not an immigrant.
He's a legal, naturalized citizen of the United States. He just happens to be Indian.
Wow,
God, would it be a racist? God.
So racist.
The white guy is the actual immigrant here. I'm just saying.
And I want to know, where did you see Tom Homan say that? Now, if you can direct me to that clip, we will denounce him here and now. If Tom said out of his own mouth that he trafficked children, sexually trafficked children, if he said that, and he said it like it was a good thing, I personally will denounce him, and that will be it. You will hear me rail that dude across the. You would not see the end of it. So please, where did you see it? What channel? What podcast? What news source? Not, and I don't want a article saying that they heard someone say they thought you heard him say something. You said out of his own mouth, which means you might have seen it, heard it. Where? Yeah. Because, again, that's a very big allegation to say you know it, that he did indeed traffic children, of all things, children.
Yeah. No, I don't believe that.
Yeah,
not until I see it with
know
my
how
eyes.
The immigrants are going to wipe the United States dry when they're citizens.
Because the government efficiency, they're going to get rid of all these programs and things like that.
Okay, so now I know who you are. So Trump is of German descent, and Elon Musk is immigrant African, because we know there is no such thing as a white African. That's stupid.
Oh,
listen, okay, now I was going to be nice, but now you've proven that you're an absolute tool bag that's worthless.
Here he goes.
Look, you're a dunce. Okay, you're an absolute racist dunce if you believe that because he's a white guy that he's not African. This is how uneducated and unhinged you clowns are. Do you not realize that South Africa has the largest population of whites in Africa, you jackass? How stupid can you be? Are you that dense that you think everyone in Africa is black? Is everyone in Africa black?
No.
Are you that retarded? Are you really that retarded? I mean, I'm answering my own question because obviously you are that retarded. Obviously you fell out of your mom's hand, bashed your head on the floor, and nobody took care of you as a child. You were just left with a brain bleed, and it leaked all over your body, and you became retarded, like to the nth degree, to think that there are no white African people.
And then she's probably the same. I'm not going to say it. She's probably the same clown that thought there's only black people in Jamaica.
Only black people in Jamaica. You're that retarded.
That's how stupid they are.
You're that retarded.
Dumb.
Oh, no, you didn't offend my white daddy because I have a black daddy. Thank you very much. But what you did offend was intelligence.
Yep.
You offended intelligence. You really mean that you could type, you could use your retarded fingers and type out loud on your click, 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 click. There are no white Africans?
Stupid.
And now we move on from the baboon exhibit to the actual topic at hand.
What kind of retards do we have out there voting?
This is crazy.
People like that. You know, Marlon, it's kind of ironic that she brought up human trafficking when Kamala was responsible for human trafficking.
Uh-oh.
But you don't want to talk about that, though. You don't want to talk about that.
So stupid. Golly, and I bet you're a white woman trying to get some black D is what you probably are. You're some white woman hoping to get some black D up in you so you can have a black and white kid, hoping that the black community will accept you. They're not going to. They're not going to.
Pick me.
They're not going to.
Me.
Your best bet would be to go to jail and have some one of them rape you. That would be your best bet. Yeah, and I said that. And I meant that. That's how stupid you sound. Y'all just feel like you could just talk and think that what you say sounds intelligent and people will just be like, hey, that makes sense. No, not when you're blatantly retarded. We're not going to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Marlon, it only makes sense in her echo chamber. When she's with her little group of freaking potatoes and, you know, smooth brains, this is the type of stuff they talk about. So to all the smooth brains, you get 5 dumb people in the same room, and they're all dumb, you know, all of them. So they all just talk in this little echo chamber, and they all say stuff like that, and they think they're smart, and they're not. They're not.
I wish I had that clip. Where it's like I'm
low
dumber
IQ.
for having listening.
Low
to
IQ.
this. Yeah.
Oh, that makes it even worse. And you're black. Yep, it says it.
So what? What you're supposed to get kudos for that?
She has coarse hair.
That just means you're the kind of person that would have killed your baby in the womb. That's what you are. You're the kind of black woman that would have sided with Margaret Sanger.
Yep.
That's what you are.
Okay. Sounds about right.
That's true.
You're the kind of black woman that would murder its own child. That's you. You're the kind of black woman that would rat on your make up charges against your man and have him go to prison. That would be you. You're the kind of black woman that would raise your son to be a faggot. That's you. You're the kind of black woman that will raise a thug. You're the kind of black woman that absolutely no black man wants to bed because you're worse than trash. That's you. So you think bragging that you're black means something to us? Wrong crowd. Try again.
Doesn't work here.
Try a different flex. Tell me now. You're going to tell me next that you're fat. Like that matters to anybody. You're going to tell me that you're cute, but you're the only one that thinks that. Like coarse hair defines black. That's how you just made yourself twice as stupid.
That's
Maybe go to Ethiopia and see what kind of hair they have. See how coarse it really is. Go to Nairobi. Do you know how many variances of hairstyles and textures they have in Africa? You idiot.
That's insane.
So because you have coarse hair, that means I'm really black. No, that means you have poor hygiene. That means you don't have hair product. That means you don't actually take care of yourself. It also tells me that probably you smell like wet dog. Bragging I have coarse hair. Well, you breaking combs as a flex now? Huh? You breaking combs as a flex? I'm gonna get out of here. You retarded piece of shit. Get out of here. I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you. Get out of here. We ain't got no time for retardation in here. We got no time for retardation. Some of y'all just step off the boat and thinking that what you have to say means anything to anybody. Anyway, Tulsi.
Yes.
Director of National Intelligence. We needed that. We needed Tulsi to take care of this lady to get her some intelligence. She doesn't have any for any of the nationals. Now, hear me out. I think this is a good pick, even though she could have gone to many other places. Her experience in the military, yes, that's one thing. But here's the thing I think that most people miss. She's not afraid to admit when she's wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, if you were a Democrat shill for years and you woke up, it tells me that, you at least are able to say, man, I was dumb for a long time. Yeah. And I've changed my mind because I've seen what reality is. Now, if she can do that, she can be better at her job because she can say, okay, this didn't work. And don't just keep doing the same stuff over and over and over and over, which is the habit of many people in national intelligence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They keep banking on somebody to change their mind. So maybe it was a good pick. I don't know what you guys think.
It's go ahead, Mike. You go.
Oh, and she's very confident, man, too, and she's humble. You know, she's not like a Hillary or a Kamala. And I think when she sat on that debate stage with Kamala Harris that time, I think that kind of turned the light switch on in her head. You know, she's kind of like, man, this party is really, really jacked up. I'm not one of them. You know, and I think at that moment, that's where she started to transition after that debate. She was like, I'm not one of these people. I don't know why I'm aligned with these people, but I'm not one of them. And Maui probably did it even worse.
The The thing I think is that I think she would have been better suited for the State Department, but I understand why Trump picked her for intelligence. And here's my rationale for it. Is he needs somebody he can trust to pass him accurate intelligence to him directly. And I think that's the reason he picked her for this position, is he can't put any establishment figure in this role and expect to get accurate information of what's actually happening on the ground. She will actually give him truthful and honest information as it comes into her office. And I think that's the only reason that she's there. Besides the fact that she can do the job. I have no doubt she can do the job. I think she's more than qualified to do that. If she doesn't know something, she'll learn it quickly. It's fine. I think it comes down to trust. I really think that's exactly what it is trust.
I like how they are saying that. Now, mind you, this particular is from Politico. Okay, so you're going to hear them bashing every pick. But ironically, they didn't bash the two that we had issues with, which is weird.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Okay, this is what they say. Former Congresswoman of Hawaii who ran for Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. That's all they say. They didn't tell you that she was actually a front runner. And if they had only put her, trust and believe me, Donald Trump would have had his hands full in the election. Okay.
Sure. They also don't mention her military service.
Right. She left the party in 2022 and joined the Republican Party in October after endorsing Trump early this year. The selection of Gabbard will likely provoke opposition in the Senate because she not only lacked experience in intelligence matters, and Hillary was a pariah, that she was just a master class person in intelligence, right? Okay, cool.
You know, what difference does it make?
At this point, right? Lacks intelligence matters, but has opposed U.S. interventions in Ukraine and Syria as she should.
Yes.
While frequently suggesting the U.S. provoked Russia into aggressive policies, which they did under Biden. Duh. And if that's your critique of her, then I'm glad she got picked.
And Marlon, you know, another reason I think she's a good pick, because, you know, the whole fiasco with the weapons of mass destruction. Oh, the intelligence community, intelligence tells us. She's not going to play that game because she's also against foreign wars. So, you know, if the intelligence community is telling us they come out and tell us another thing about Syria has weapons of mass destruction, she's going to sit back and be like, no, or we don't buy that, you know. So that's a great pick. I think good position for her because intelligence leads us to wars.
Yeah. Especially the kind of intelligence that they're talking about on the military side. And I'm sorry, not the military, but the political side. All they want is to cycle more wars to get more money into their pockets. That's the whole cycle of it. That's the cycle of it. So I'm okay with that pick. Of course, like I said, there were about 3 other positions she could have been put into, but I like this one simply because it's a good entry position for someone who's just joining the Republican Party from the Democrat Party. It's a good testing ground. And she's also not totally left or right when she's going against war, which is just like what we like. We don't want any more wars.
I think it's going to be a offset to Ratcliffe. I think that's one of the reasons why she's in DNI while he's going to be the CIA director, because like technically they're 2 separate agencies, but they still work together closely. And like I said, it comes down to trust. He needs somebody he can trust. Yeah, Ratcliffe is okay. I would rather even put Kash Patel in that position, but they're looking at him
RFK.
for being FBI. Yeah, or RFK, either one of those. But RFK is doing other things, I think. He hasn't said exactly what he's going to be doing yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ratcliffe is an interesting choice. However, I'll say this. He kind of strikes me as a Jim Jordanish kind of guy. I have heard him defend from the very beginning a lot of the things that Trump did. However, I have this one knock on him. I still don't think he's trustworthy fully. I have some issues with exactly which role he's going to take and how he's going to go about it. And because remember, wasn't it Trump that picked Ray?
Yeah. Well, it says in here that he was in DNI previously, so maybe that's the reason why. Is that he was experienced? He can use the CIA. She's going to be taking over DNI. So basically, the intelligence apparatus is going to be controlled by people he absolutely trusts. That's kind of the important thing here. And I think that's probably the reason why we got a Rubio instead of a Tulsi, is because he didn't want somebody like Rubio in the DNI or in the intelligence apparatus lying to him over what's going on. So like Rubio might might start some crap, but at least he's got accurate intelligence on what's actually happening from people he trusts.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be kind of a conflict of well, that seems like a cluster F. Because you have Rubio wanting to do all this kind of stuff, but then the intelligence is saying something different. And so the president has to decide what's going on.
But that's not any worse than what happened previously, where people were literally taking papers off of Trump's desk so he wouldn't sign them.
True.
Or having generals lie to him to the numbers and quality of troops that are in certain places. He had actual people lie to him constantly,
right,
of what actually was happening. So like nobody was actually trying to work with him this whole time. So he has to pick people he knows he can trust in these positions.
Right.
Makes sense.
And
maybe, like I said, Rubio was a compromise, I guess.
This one is one of my favorite picks.
I've never heard of her.
Oh my goodness. She's
at least Stefanik is.
What's that? Who is she?
I like the pick. What's your bone with her?
To be honest, she's a nobody to me. It's a worthless position, just like Nikki Haley getting tossed into the UN ambassadorship, right? Like honestly, she would have been better served as staying in Congress. It's kind of we have to pick somebody.
Aren't we going to leave the UN? Trump talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
Now, and to that point, this is why I'm saying that she's one of my favorite persons. She knows how to be antagonistic.
Yeah,
true.
Okay, and if not just antagonistic, but antagonistic with her moral compass. If we are to leave the UN, the best person to stand up and say "peace bees, we're out," it'd be her. So I could see him using her. Here's what he. And again, people may not. I'm not pro women leadership. I just want people to understand that. But I do understand that sometimes it has more of a sting when a woman burns you.
Yes.
So someone like her stepping into the realm of what she's going to have to deal with, I can see it being a very good thing, because she does have some spit and fire to her. She has some grit. So I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I do appreciate the pick because she does stand her ground.
She's also very hawkish with Israel too at the time. So like it's one of those things of like she's going to give Israel cover for a lot of things, which means that we're going to end up giving them cover for a lot of things. And I don't like that. I don't like a lot of the things that they have done with our money involved.
Now, this is what it said, right? She's a staunch defender of Israel and a fierce critic of the United Nations.
Good.
Okay.
I'm happy for the United Nations things. I don't like that she has given so much leeway to Israel for everything they do, even though they've proven not to be super good allies to us multiple times.
Yes. What I'd like to see is what her stance is and when we revoke funding, because I hope we do. Is revoke funding from everyone for a bit, because I do believe that that's what he will do. I don't think he'll have favorites. I think he'll start pulling funding from everyone to fix here first, because he did start doing that in 2016. He pulled funding from just about everywhere, and he was going to shut everything down, and they could not have that, because if he did that, everybody else's funding goes away too. You stop giving money to people, you stop getting the kickback.
Do you think that's the reason? Sorry,
go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Ask though. Is that so? If Trump was pulling funding from everywhere, is that the reason why Biden signed all those Lend-Lease acts?
Probably, more than likely.
So we can't really get out of it, even if Trump is.
No, we can. We definitely can.
How?
Yeah, we can get out of a lot of it. But I mean, here's the thing: is that there's certain things that he can do, but when it comes to money that has been allocated by Congress, he can't do much, right? So we're gonna have all the things that have been given will have to be given, right, or have been allocated.
But what
for
he
that.
can do, he can demand payment back for the things we've already given them.
Yep. That was going to be my question. Stop funding him, and then are we going to get the money back? Demand the money back before we have any more talks. You're going to pay us back.
Same thing with Ukraine.
Yeah,
you're going to pay us back, and then we'll talk after that. Until then, we're done talking to you. We're done helping you. We're done.
Now,
one of the things that he could,
I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Is like one of the things he can do with Ukraine is go, Zelensky, accept the deal that I'm helping you orchestrate with Russia, or I'm going to demand all that money back up front. That's one thing he could say. No, I can demand that. I lent you that money. The United States lent you that money.
Even if there's a deal, deal or no deal, we want the money back. Period.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It is going to be. Look, this is going to be an interesting nomination process. Because when all this is said and done, some of these guys that we've just talked about may not be the position that they are. It may be somebody completely different. And like I said, depending on who he has as his second or possibly third option, could say more about what the administration is going to do than his first or second pick.
Is he?
In this particular case, the few that we have issues with may actually be beneficial, so we can see who they are. Yes, but my biggest issue is that some of them will not go through. And I think probably the ones we really want to go through may not go through. That will be the problematic one, because if it's like what happened with Thune, if Thune and those guys are in cahoots with anyone else with his nomination process, it might be hosed.
And so, I think the biggest hurdle are going to be the lobbyists. These lobbyists are going to have a lot of say-so on these confirmations, and especially if it has to deal with their money, especially when it comes to like intelligence and, this Department of Defense. They're going to be like, that guy's too anti-war for us. We don't want him. So the lobbyists are going to be talking to a lot of these swamp rats, and hopefully, it doesn't work. Hopefully
I'm not seeing any official announcements, but like Bannon and the chat saying that Patel's going to be for the FBI, but I'm not seeing any official confirmation from Trump himself.
I think that's just rumors
on X. I think it's still a rumor until it's confirmed. Like that was the thing I was thinking with Rubio too, is that it was a rumor until it was confirmed, which still upsets me. I don't know why he did that, but maybe it was a compromise he had to do. I don't know.
It'll be, like I said, the interesting will be coming here in a few months when he actually does take and assume office, and the picks start to get through the deliberation process and the confirmation process. What it might actually tell us too is more about whether or not they get the full support of the Republicans flat, or you see a few of them saying, nah, I can't go, or nah, I can't go. Then you can, two things. We may find more rhinos than we did before. Or we could see we actually got rid of quite a few of them and the picks go through. Hopefully we see, I mean, I'm not expecting perfection on this, but I'm expecting more than I got in 2016 because it's your last year. And I think what you have to be is a little bit more assertive, Trump. You gotta, we need that business tycoon dog coming out. We need the Spitfire. We need the revenge. We do need you to put your foot down and clamp down on these fools. And don't care whether or not they call you vengeful. Don't care if they call you a dictator. Do what needs to be done to rid the United States of these idiots. Go through and destroy everything. I mean, wipe it to the floor, raise the whole thing. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, they're still having foundations for them to build on. You might as well have not gotten in. You just gave us a kind of sense of hope. But we need more than just that. We need something to where we can say, all right, some damage has been done and they will not recover from this anytime soon. That's what we need.
And one thing I think he can do to like show us that he means business is first day in office, if he can do it, he probably could ban lobbyists. Lobbyists are no longer allowed to contribute or influence congressional decisions. Now these congressmen don't have the lobbyist money coming to them, and it's going to force them to make actual decisions based on what the American people want and not what the lobbyists want. I think that is the swamp. Really, it's the lobbyists. You get rid of the lobbyists, now you force these people that we've elected to actually make decisions that benefit the American people.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that they're going to be doing is decentralizing DC. Yes. But it makes it a lot harder for them to collude with each other. They're just going to have to take planes now. That's about it. Like if there's email, there's the internet like that. It physically breaking them up and moving them other places is only going to do so much.
Right.
It helps a little, but it's not going to stop anything.
Yeah, but if they do communicate through the internet, I mean, he does have Space Force. He can intercept everything. Nothing is encrypted. He'll intercept it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think it's a good idea. I think none of those departments need to be in DC.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't.
I don't think I've ever seen her on that. I've seen her here before. She's been on Savage Patriots before.
Oh, she has? Wow.
But she has not spoken out of turn like that before. But anyway, we're not going to see her no more anyway. So I blocked her. I didn't put her on no timeout.
Doesn't matter.
It's a full block. I ain't gonna do that next time.
Bobby.
If you want a Hotep channel, go find a Hotep channel that ain't here.
No,
we're not pro anybody so much that we're just gonna be blindly following them. And your retarded statements ain't gonna matter to us in the long grand scheme of things. So no, we're not. She's not gonna be coming back. And if I find her on Straight Talk, she's blocked there too. Anywhere I find her, it's gonna be a misunderstanding. So no, it's all gone. I ain't dealing with that twice.
what is that? Hold on. What is Corey? You're smarter than everybody else. What does that mean?
Trump team is reportedly discussing plan to adjourn both houses of Congress under Article 2.
They plan on doing a recess appointment, but I don't know about all the other bits. But the recess appointment is a true thing. They're going to try to push that through, which makes it easier, so they don't actually have to do a real confirmation.
I mean, that's
it's just
within his official capacity to do so. So
yeah, it'll be like I said, we in for quite the show, and it could be good and it could be bad. Again, I'm holding out hope that what he experienced in 16 left a really big scar, and he starts to understand that when you appoint people who have been in places before, you're probably going to have a hard time getting what you want done. Sometimes will take people that are not like them, who are outside of it, who have experienced the heartache that America is experiencing, to push your agenda. And it is your right to push your agenda. Otherwise, what's the use of having elections and regime changes if you're not going to come in with your own agenda that's specific to what you know about America to push? Don't worry about what they think about it. You were elected by a landslide because we believe you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Do not care about what the Democrats say. Don't care about what the media says. You do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. If you got to put Tom and give him the military to execute that mass deportation, do it. Hunt them down, find them, get rid of them, ship them out. Yes, you have our full permission as Americans, patriots and citizens, to wipe every last illegal out, especially if they came in within the last 3 years. Get rid of them. If they want to, send them back to wherever they came from and have them all rifle themselves through the port of entry, so we can, 1, count them, and 2, let them know if you are coming here for this, we know where to put you. But this exodus coming from other countries and just willy-nilly walking in, that has to stop, bro. We all done can't do that.
And one thing that we're hoping for is, when it comes to the swamp, the Epstein and Diddy list. So if they said they would, but when that list drops, a lot of these swamp monsters that we're talking about, these swamp creatures in DC, a lot of them are going to be on that list. So you're going to see a huge cleanup. Just be patient and have faith.
Yeah, but they're going to say that it's all politically motivated, that he's going after his political opponents, even though they did commit evil.
Right.
Like Marlon said, do it.
Yeah, let him talk.
Yeah.
Let's give him, in fact, let's do Bonnie Raitt. Let's give him something to talk about. All right, a little something to figure out. Let's give him something to talk about. Before they thought you were a dictator. All right, fine, cool, do it.
Become the monster they predicted you to be.
That's okay. Do it. If that means firing everybody that you can fire, fire them.
Do it. That's what I thought about when they announced Doge, is that be the American that Japan thinks you are.
Yeah, there you go.
Like day one, you like send out an EBS, and then you just like control what's on the TV, and it's nothing but the Diddy list and tape, and people can watch it.
Do like a presidential announcement,
just like for 3 or 4 days straight, emergency broadcast. You can't watch nothing else but the Diddy tapes and Epstein tapes and lists. Just imagine that.
Why is
every American sees?
Look, I understand the realism behind what we're saying,
but
the point is this: we need to be extreme for this one reason. We cannot undo what these clowns have done if we don't go full bore at it.
Yeah, no,
we can't sissyfoot. We can't say we have 4 years because we don't know. We can't say we have time when we don't, because what they've done takes a lot of undoing, like a lot of undoing.
Yep.
So if we don't start now and do it heavy and do it harsh, we're going to be having a very rough 4 years. And I don't think that you or any of the people that you have in your cabinet right now will be able to run for the next presidential cycle because we're not going to be able to trust you.
Right.
Okay. I just want you, you may never hear this. No one's going to talk to you about it. But I think you need to understand that you can't be concerned. This is like making a business move to make your building go up quickly. And there are people who don't like you, like your competitors who wanted that land, wanted that contract, and they didn't get it. And they're salty and they're throwing stuff at you. You can just shut them down, call the city, have them removed from the site, set up security if you got to, do whatever you got to do to build this thing, man. You got to make it happen because we put you in there for that reason. All right?
Yeah.
Cool. Friday is a roast session. In case y'all have not been on social media, the left has gone, I thought they were off the rails before, but they have gone further off rail. They're on
full
dirt
balloon
roads
on
right now. Oh,
Which
gosh.
is amazing to me.
Look, for all the things that they call us, racist, this and racist, they are extreme. So you're going to be seeing some comments from people aimed at especially special needs, handicapped, black, immigrants, you name it.
Hispanic.
Oh my goodness gracious.
They mad at the Hispanics right now.
Yeah, they are.
Wow. So now it's more than just the tantrums you saw. Look, promise you're not going to expect some of the comments you're going to see. You're not. You just simply couldn't fathom it. I'm telling you. So we'll talk about that come Friday. So we'll be back with Famous Friday.
So quite literally, buckle up for Famous Friday.
Buckle up. Buckle up. So we'll be there tomorrow. I think Straight Talk's on tomorrow. I believe. We'll see. If you haven't seen the 2 videos we dropped on Too Strong, go check them out because they're good. A few more dropping later. Friday, no Straight Talk, but we'll be back with Famous Fridays. And I think that's all. Hey, Christmas is around the corner. Christmas is around the corner. We got gear.
Thanksgiving first, but nobody cares about Thanksgiving.
I do. I like the
turkey. Thanksgiving's every day. I give thanks every single day.
And you eat turkey every day too. So
Thanksgiving is just the drama holiday that everybody does trauma dumping.
That's
However, this might be the best Thanksgiving ever because the lefties are not celebrating it. They're not even going to camera reunions. They're not going. So that's perfect. Stay home. Anybody wants you there anyway.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
You will not be missed.
Right.
You're not. You're gonna end up calling saying, "I'm lonely. Stay lonely and don't come back." Okay, we're not dealing with y'all. So understand that.
Back to $50 turkey instead of $200 turkey.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see y'all Friday.
Peace. We out.
Peace.